So I'm going to talk a little bit about pairing, or pair programming as it's most commonly done. So the presentation here, I'm going to first start with a little bit of some introductory stuff. What is pairing? Why do it? Why does it work? How does it work? And then I'll start providing a little more context about some of the other practices, how this fits in with the full Agile practice. For this, I'm using a lot of the engineering practices that come out of extreme programming, a number of the philosophies, and some of the specific practices that come out of the lean software development, and really a mix and match of various things. My intent is to show a way to start doing a lot of the Agile practices, and then to improve your practice over time. And that's one of the things that will appear several times here. I will talk about a practice, but while there is a single unified concept for, say, what is pairing, you'll see that the way you do it at first is not the way that you should still be doing it a year after or 2 years after as you learn more. So after providing the context, I will then talk to you about a little more specifics. What do you do, and what do you do as you get better? And I will conclude with some directions in advanced pairing, where mostly what I'm going to be talking about there are, here are some things and some concepts that you might experiment with, because the advanced form of any of the Agile practice is you invent it yourself. So I'm good with that. What is pairing? So one of these pictures, the one on the right, is pair programming, as most people see it. The other one on the left, I would say, is also pairing, just not in a programming context. And an important facet of this isn't just a programming practice. A number of teams have done pair marketing, pair sales calls. A whole lot of other practices work just fine. In fact, for a marketing, putting together a marketing campaign, it can be very handy to pair a marketing guy with one of your programmers. The programmer brings in a whole lot of analytical mindset and deep knowledge of the system, and the marketing guy brings in deep knowledge of the market. So the key concept for what is pairing that distinguishes it from things that are not pairing are that the two people are interacting with each other much more than they are with the problem domain. It's a discussion that happens in parallel with a shared activity. So this has a number of ramifications as you are working. Mostly, it's all about communication, learning, and change. So what you find when you do pairing is that the pair as a whole gets its job done faster. It doesn't get its job done twice as fast, but it can be pretty close to that. And in fact, with a team that is that it pairs extremely well, it will get above twice as fast. But at first, you can probably expect that by putting two people on every task will take about 1.25 times as many man-hours to complete. But that means that it will complete in something like 60% of the calendar time that it used to take. So it's a good way, if nothing else, to focus your efforts, get a thing done, get it done in less calendar time, and then go on to the next. It also provides strong advantages in team building, in communication, shared vision, and shared learning. So, a little distinction here, something I want to draw, what is pairing and what I don't consider pairing. Again, it all comes down to, is there a shared critical thinking activity going on? So if a programmer is watching another programmer code and maybe even commenting on the work as it's going, that's not pairing, because there are two different people doing two different activities. One is programming, the other is commenting and reviewing. In a pairing session, instead, there are two people who are fundamentally programming. One of them happens to be typing at any given moment, but the keyboard's switching very quickly back and forth between the two of them. So that can similarly be applied in other domains. In marketing, building a marketing campaign, for example, if both people are actively engaged in building the marketing campaign, but they're just coming at it with different base experiences, then that can still fully qualify. So I alluded to this a little earlier, measured results of why pair. So I mentioned the improved lead time and that you get about 80% of the stuff done per man day, features done per man day. However, one of the things you'll notice very, very quickly is quality improves dramatically. When you are actively pairing, every idea goes through several variations in people's heads, bounces back and forth between the two involved people before it ever gets implemented. This means that a lot of improvements happen before the first writing of the code. Also, you have a copy editor sitting right there next to you when everything is written. So there are fewer just transcription error bugs. Result is about 10% of the defect rate. And so these things that I'm calling measured results here, I would like to point out, were done in a study, were measured in a study of, I believe, software engineering students. From talking with a number of consultants who work with a number of teams, looking at my own stuff, I would say that you actually get better results than this with software engineering professionals, 3-year guys in the business. But no one has been able to do a really good comparative study of outside of the educational context. So these are the numbers that I have. To me, the key one here is the reduced work in process inventory. Pairing helps you focus. There are fewer things you're doing at any given time, which means things get out in a shorter lead time. Why does this work? There are two things coming into play here, beginner's mind and PairNet. Actually, there are a whole lot of other ones, but these are, to me, the key reasons it works. So, beginner's mind. You've all heard, I assume, of a state called flow. That's sort of been the goal for software engineering practices, methodologies, etc. for years and years and years. Get the engineers as often as possible and for as long as possible into a state of flow, where they lose track of time. They're just in the groove and moving. And so that's why there's been all of this talk of engineers need private spaces, they need the phones removed, you need to designate block the huge chunks of the day in which there will be no meetings, no interruptions of any sort, etc. Okay. So flow is a state that the mind gets in where it's executing a fixed mental pattern. There can still be some variance in this. The fixed mental pattern, when you're doing software engineering, there are variances, based on the problem that you're experiencing and interacting with. But there's not a lot of variance in terms of the problem-solving techniques, the stuff that you're using in your head. And there will actually not be that much variance in the solutions that people come up with. It's very, very fast, very, very efficient, and it's very, very sustainable. There's actually not that much mental effort. It feels good to do it. But it requires that there be no inputs, and it doesn't have to allow for a lot of variation. Beginner's mind is a wholly different mind state, and one that many people have not heard about or learned or experienced. This is the way the brain learns. It happens, you'll observe it happen